Hi guys, so it's another installation of the 5-minute florals, and what I was thinking of is instead of the name being called 5-minute florals and it's just like a 5-minute segment of watercolor, let's just work on flowers that would only take about 5 minutes, but the video is going to be a little bit longer than that. So let's get into it. So today I thought we would work on some hydrangeas and possibly anemone, and let's just see how we get on. And I also wanted to say thank you for all your gorgeous comments. And I am trying this new kind of set up with the camera, and hopefully I'm just going to try and not sort of bump the stand so it doesn't wobble, but let's just see how we get on. Okay, so the main shape of a hydrangea is kind of a sort of star, so we have 4 kind of petals that are kind of star shaped. And again, I apologize, because of the camera angle, it's hard for me to sort of get exactly sort of how I want to do it, and it's hard for me to kind of reach. So what I've just used is some ultramarine violet, and now I'm just dropping in some cobalt violet. And then I'm just going to leave the centers empty for a minute, and we'll add some other things. So the other, okay, so the thing about when you look at sort of a bush of hydrangeas, you also have some that are sort of curves in there, and you know, half of it will be hidden. Behind, you know, so once you've got this kind of shape here, then we can do, so this is Schminker Violet. And so now I'm kind of adding cobalt violet, so to kind of transition the petal there. Add a bit of a dark one here. And it's a bit too. So what I'm doing now is just lifting, so I'm trying to kind of get my brush and lift out that colour to get that kind of muted effect. I might try adding a bit of like some turquoise, I think, from Schminker. So, and the thing about when you see the kind of the hydrangeas in the garden, they kind of have a sort of a round shape, or like a round sort of formation. So look at this colour. So this is cobalt violet with some of the Schminker turquoise, and it's separating incredibly, really beautifully. So not sure if you can. So that's the Schminker, and then this is that colour. Okay. And so we can kind of just round off the sort of little bunch there. So we're just going to let that first dry, and then we can go back over it with some other things, but while we're waiting for it, let's sort of start on an anemone. So I'm going to use some Schminker Violet with the Daniel Smith Ultramarine, and let's just start with kind of a sort of a moon-shaped petal. And then we're going to, so this is the sort of side view of the flower, and then we're just adding, just kind of adding on here. Again, so these are loose flowers, so we don't have to be too sort of concerned about kind of, you know, whether we've got them exactly right. The only thing is I'm not loving this here, so I can actually go back in and just blot some of that up with some tissue. One of the nice things about watercolors is that you can just keep working on it until you're happy with it as well. So, okay, so that's pretty dry. So what I'm thinking now is we'll just go back in with some of these textures here, and we'll just kind of, so we're just kind of adding a bit more depth. And let's just also add some centers here. So now we're going to move back to the anemone, and I'm going to use a little bit of Sugarlight and sort of start the middle here, and a little bit of Moon Shadow from Schminker, and just gonna and then we'll let that layer dry. And just put some I'm just kind of adding a little bit more colour in here. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to these ones and just add a little bit more to the centre here. And you can kind of see that once we start to add the layers, then the flowers start to come alive a bit. So, alright, so let's do another anemone. So let's start this one in actually, so this is going to be moon. Let's do moon glow with a little bit of the cobalt violet. Look at that colour. So here we have moon glow, and then we add the, look at that colour. Okay. And so let's just do another flower kind of down here. So we're going to do the anemone sort of upside down here. So we're going to do the bell-shaped kind of petal to start with, so this one, and then from there we're going to do the side ones, and then the top ones here. Okay, and then in a moment we'll add the center. Let's actually kind of add a bit of a petal here. Alright, and while we're at this, let's start creating, so we'll leave this to dry for a minute, and let's start creating just some sort of greenery, so that's probably a bit bright for what I'm looking for. And I'm going back in with so with a deeper green, and so this is, and I'm actually going to add a little bit of the purple into it to try and sort of mute that a little bit. So this is Daniel Smith Terra Vert. So just creating some leaves here, and I'm going to add in some fuchsite. I think I bumped it, sorry guys. I feel like just putting maybe some little berries or something in there, so we can just do some little just adding some berries. Basically, so basically, because you're sort of just getting the tops here, we're just going to put some little sticks with the dots at the top coming up here. Okay, alright. Okay guys, so I think this is pretty much it for my florals installation today. Back in here and just kind of have a little bit more depth there. berries and just kind of add a bit of this cobalt violet here. Look at the gorgeous colour separation in here. So I just want to make this stand out a little bit more. And I'm going to add a bit of shadow to everything. So I'm thinking of taking a little bit of this sort of the moon glow and the cobalt violet mix here, and again, look, I'm sorry that I'm painting from such a weird angle here that when I'm watching the videos back, I'm kind of like, oh, I should have done this or I should have done that, but it's really hard to see from here. So now we're just kind of adding some depth and some movement into these flowers here. And again, this is a step that you don't have to do, but I'm more like dry brushing this on, so I'm more just getting pigment and then just adding it really dry to dry paper. Kind of getting my colours and just adding little touches here and there. Really more like drawing, I guess. Just kind of creating colour, lines, you know, variation in shadows and things like that. Okay, so I've been watching a lot of paper fashion in New York, her videos, art videos, and the way that she layers sort of crayons and pastels on top of her watercolors and things. So I've just got these gelatos, so here's and basically I've just gone through, and so there's the kind of like a lipstick or something, and literally I'm just adding some details here and there like this. So I've gone around and done that, and then I've also added this at the top, and let me see if I can show it to you in the sun. So I kind of used the gelatos in a similar way on this page, but I just kind of did some outlining and